Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has a particular talent, not only in inspiring people on her side to, admire her and want her to succeed and all of that, but also just getting under the skin of the right in a really weird way. And she is already inspiring crazy ageism, racism, misogyny coming at her. Eventually, I assume the right will come up with some sort of like issues-based arguments against her, but right now they've settled on clothing for the most part. And so it keeps coming up in different forms, and we've got the dumbest version of that opposition to AOC for you now. Eddie Scarry is technically a journalist for the Washington Examiner, and he tweeted this yesterday. Hill staffer sent me this pic of Ocasio-Cortez they just took now. I'll tell you something, that jacket and coat don't look like a girl who struggles. So first of all, you can't tell necessarily from the graphic we're showing you, but that is sort of a screenshot someone had already taken of the tweet rather than us live taking a screenshot. And the reason for that is that Eddie Scarry eventually deleted that tweet. He really hung in there, and we'll describe how. But that tweet, which is so obviously condescending, stupid, and misogynistic. I mean, not only is this a man looking at a woman walk by in a hallway and saying, I know that coat, that's an expensive coat, which I don't think most people wandering the halls of the Hill can actually do. He calls her a girl, which is, she's a congresswoman-elect. She's not a girl. I mean, no 29-year-old should be referred to as a girl to begin with, but certainly not a politician, with the level of support that she does. But he did that, and he's implying that if she has a coat, she can't be struggling in the way that she has. And what he's doing there is he's continuing that weird argument against her where when she recently said that she would have trouble affording an apartment in DC until her congressional salary kicks in, they think that that's insane, that this woman who made, I believe, $26,000 last year as a bartender should have trouble living in literally the most expensive rent area of the US, they think is laughable. And they believe that they have a counter argument to it. If we ever see her wearing anything nice, she must be lying. And if she ever owns outerwear, she can't actually be a democratic socialist because we know they run around nude. That's actually the argument that you are seeing play out in tweet after tweet, Fox News segment after Fox News segment. Now, thankfully, she caught not only his initial misogynistic attack, but also the fact that he deleted his tweet, and she called him out on both parts of that. So in this next tweet, she says, oh, does E. Scarry think he can delete his misogyny without an apology? Which is a nice rhyme there too. I don't think so. You're a journalist. Readers should know your bias. She's technically right there. As I said in the beginning, he does technically write for the Washington Examiner. At the end of this segment, we're gonna show you some of the other things he's tweeted. It is gonna be very interesting to see if he maintains his job at the Washington Examiner after this. But that wasn't her actual substantive response to this attack. She tweeted that earlier saying, if I walked into Congress wearing a sack, they would laugh and take a picture of my backside. If I walk in with my best sale rack clothes, they laugh and take a picture of my backside. Dark hates light, that's why you tune it out. Shine bright and keep it pushing. Which is awesome. Now, she's done this before. If you remember her Slayin' Looks tweet, she really does know how to point out the insane arguments against her in a very concise way and also come across as the bigger, more inspiring figure. She does that consistently, she's doing that here. But I want to give credit to some other people on Twitter as well, because when he initially tweeted out that photo, which he says someone gave to him, we're gonna examine the evidence as to whether that's true in just a minute. There was a great deal of reaction from leftist Twitter. So first, Jordan Ull tweeted, I too am disappointed Ocasio didn't show up wearing only a wooden barrel held up by suspenders and carrying her few belongings in a bindle, which is great. Ken Klippenstein, who's been on the show several times, said, Ocasio-Cortez claims to be middle class, but she owns Squint's clothes. That is a great point. And look, you've now seen the picture like 10 times. Can we put up the picture one more time of her walking in the hallway? Like, look at that. Can you honestly say whether that coat costs $5, $50, or $5,000? How would you know? You have no idea. But how dare she be democratic socialist who wears something with sleeves? And she's wearing shoes. Like some hoity-toity princess up in here wearing shoes. So anyway, look, now let's talk briefly about Eddie Scarry. So what Eddie Scarry did, I believe, is he took a picture of her without her consent and posted it, lied about the fact that it had been given to him. I'm gonna show you that evidence in just a second. He wants to score points by implying that if you actually care about income inequality, raising the minimum wage, if you care about the condition of the American workforce, then you can't actually ever look nice or put together, although as she points out, if she came in wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, I think they'd mock her for that too. And he wanted to get credit as like this clever guy. If you go through his Twitter history, he very much thinks that he's a very smart, clever guy. And so he stood with this thing even as that initial tweet had something like, at one point, I think 30 retweets and 7,000 replies. The definition of ratioed on Twitter, so much so that Merriam-Webster tweeted the ratio when the whole entire internet gets together to dunk on you. Just coincidentally, they didn't tweet him or anything, but you know what they were getting at. Now he did what conservatives have been taught to do under Donald Trump. He just tweeted through it. And tweet after tweet after tweet implying that the opposition of the tweet had to do with the fact that we think he took the picture, which I do think he took the picture, but that's not what our issue actually is, or that we're misunderstanding the point that he's trying to make or something like that. Everybody knew immediately what he was doing there and he didn't want to accept it. Now, as of right now, he still has not apologized to AOC for either taking the picture without her consent or tweeting about her in such a misogynistic way. He did delete the initial tweet, although if you go on his Twitter, which you shouldn't, you'll see the literally dozens of tweets that he's done since then, including trying to push his, I almost swore, his book because of this controversy, saying, oh, if you're interested in me now, take a look at this book that I wrote in response to Michael Wolff's book earlier this year, which was published in, I believe, March. And a sign of quality for an investigative book in political science, I would say, is when you can write it in 4 weeks after another book comes out. That's definitely going to be a winner. But he apparently has learned nothing. I will give you his last tweet on this matter. He says, attention, I posted a tweet earlier suggesting the incoming Congresswoman looked well put together, elegant even, despite suggestions she struggled. The tweet was taken as something else, so I've deleted it. This is basically the arc that you have witnessed is right-wing media, punditry, comedy, whatever you want. It's saying something, then deciding whether you were joking or not based on the reaction to it, refusing to insist that anything you did was inappropriate, claiming that people are only misunderstanding you, and then in this particular case, claiming that the point of your tweet was to say that she looked elegant. Does anyone, if you're a lib, if you're a conservative, you're watching the show, do you actually believe that that's what he was doing? That's not what he was doing. But I want to go back a little bit farther. So he would like you to believe that this is just a one-off thing. Eddie Scarry, the journalist, is a weirdo. And that's not just my opinion. I want to take a look at some of the other tweets he has sent out over the years. Check out this one. Check out the bunion on this otherwise cute woman's foot. And if you're listening to the podcast, it is a photo of a woman's legs, maybe sitting in a cafe, and he has taken a photo of her legs and foot and has posted it on Twitter back in August of 2012 to point out that this woman who would otherwise be attractive has a bunion that he noticed because he apparently walks around cafeterias staring at women's feet and then posting photos non-consensually on Twitter. He also posted this in 2013. Just saw a very special person outside SCOTUS, don't want to give it away, but here's her butt, and it's a photo of a woman wearing, again, outerwear, and it's an anonymous butt that he has posted. So again, this is the guy claiming that he was just given that photo. He didn't take the photo of AOC, but he does post a lot of photos of women's butts and feet on Twitter non-consensually. And to give you an idea of his overall philosophy towards this sort of photography, I saw this interaction on Twitter. He tweeted in 2014, upskirt photo shots are now legal so long as they're taken in broad daylight. The junior sensation replies, haha, broad. And Eddie Scarry says, lol, good catch, didn't even think of that. But you can understand why he'd be distracted since he was thinking about all the new opportunities he'll have to take photos up women's skirts. This is a guy who writes for a conservative political newspaper online. They want to be taken seriously. He posts about bunions and upskirts and women's anonymous butts, as if women being outside are, whether they want to or not, taking part in some sort of reality TV show that plays out in real time on his Twitter account. That's not actually how any of this is supposed to work. Now, he had a chance, apparently, where he was standing a few feet behind Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the most exciting new politicians in the country. And rather than ask her about what she's going to be doing in office, her new push for a Green New Deal, the new caucus she's putting together, all of that, he instead decides to take a picture of her clothing to minimize her political philosophy as being invalid because she wears a coat. That is what he chose to do. That is what right-wing commentators and news analysts do. They waste these opportunities, they distract you with nonsense, whether it's a caravan or a coat, while all the rest of the country just falls apart in the background. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does have a lot of good things to talk about. We've been covering some this week. We will return to that soon, but I wanted to point this out to you to understand that going forward, you're gonna see a lot more of this. They have been driven insane by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is under their skin. Someone pointed out that while she's gonna have trouble making rent in DC, she's currently living rent-free in every right-winger's brain across the country, which is 100% true. You're gonna see more of this, and we're gonna have to stand in defense of her. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.